I defend Southgate, not because of what he does tactically in that. I've been a critic of this. My point is, as a fan, right, and as a passion merchant, a fan, he has given me my best time as an English fan. My best time, And people say, well, he's still not got success, etc., etc., and I get all that. But in terms of historically, as an England manager, Barca Ralph, he's the best. And he's done it again where we've got to a semi, and I think we'll beat Holland. The mad thing is, I know a lot of people say, like, whenever he comes up against decent sides, we go out, etc., etc. I hear it. I actually think Holland will be a better game for Southgate because they'll want to come and play more so than any other opposition we've faced so far this tournament.
This is my only pushback to that, though, Joe. The 2 games where England have went behind, it hasn't necessarily been a stylistic or a tactical in-game management change that's done it. It's been down to pure individual brilliance from Jude Bellingham and from Bukayo Saka. And those I have to give the credit to those lads because
would Bellingham, if any of us were manager, Errol, go on, and then I'll respond.
I think they're from their perspective because of, and again, this is England team. This isn't a black or a white thing. This is just the England side in general. I think because of the stick that they've had and the way that they've been hyped up to such a level of, as we've all agreed, the talent is phenomenal. I think they think it's got to. We're only going to get slack and we're going to get absolutely slated if we don't beat Switzerland, if we don't beat whoever's in front of us, Slovenia. We've got to beat them. So after that point, I think the players take the handbrake off. And obviously, you've got your coach on the sideline, you've got everybody, the backroom staff, all giving you instructions. But the fact that those lads, both of those goals are top draw, they're world-class goals from individual talent as opposed to he's put on 2 or 3 subs, they've made the impact, they've made the change, they've cut somebody open, it's come from a set piece or something tactical in game. I think if I had to place the level of the level of responsibility or accountability to it, I'd heavily favour 70 to 80% to the individuals and 20% to Gareth Southgate, if I'm being brutally honest.
That's fine, and let me respond. I think everyone on this panel, plus everyone that was watching the game when Bellingham scored in the 95th minute, none of us would have had him on the pitch. None of us. He'd have been subbed off, as would a Kane.
I hear that, but you don't get credit for putting out fires that you started.
I still think he deserves credit for that because without them 2 players on the pitch, then we don't get back into the game.
Without those two players on the pitch, we might have won in 90 minutes.
The game potentially, but we didn't. The game
should be so.
We didn't. And what I would also say on the Saka thing, on the Saka goal, if we look at the subs that overloaded the left-hand side, which meant a lot of focus went over there, which then freed up Saka for him to cut inside and do what he did. I think he deserves credit of that. But that's just, listen, I'll defend him till the cows come home. He'll leave at the end of this tournament anyway. He'll probably leave it on a high note and we win the Euros. And
is it coming on, Joe, yeah?
Yeah, I think we'll win it, mate. I've said since the start I think we will, so why not?
First?
Listen, let me bring a couple of the other lads in as well on this point, right? And I want to move after this because I don't want this to be an England podcast, right? But at the same time,
we should be praising him at this point. It was the best. It was the best performance of the tournament, and we progressed again. I'll tell you why we shouldn't be.
I'll tell you why we shouldn't be then, Joe. Right? I'll tell you why we shouldn't be praising him, right? Because if I said to you, okay, I'll give you a scenario. You come up, you ring me up, you go, Potsy, yeah. It's been an absolute mess. I've had such bad stuff going on at home. I haven't been able to see any of the Euros. How are we getting on? In the semi-final, mate, you'd go to me, bloody hell, who are we beating? And I would have gone, get ready, because there's some top teams about to come out, be rolled up.
That's unfair, man. He can't.
No, it isn't. No, I'll tell you why it isn't. Because if you said to me, you thought England had a good chance of winning it all, right?
Yeah.
The draw that we've got on the hard. Now, I understand you've got to beat what's in front of you. I totally get that. But I can't sit there and go, wow, this guy deserves an unbelievable amount of credit for beating the following teams: Switzerland, Slovakia, Serbia, not Denmark, because we didn't beat them. And who was the other one? Slovenia, wasn't it?
Yeah, Slovenia, Slovakia.
And they're saying now that this is an unbelievable, this is really good. He deserves a hell of a lot of credit because look at what he, not the team, he has done to get us to the semi-final. I would argue the players have got us there. I would argue the individual talent has got us there. Bellingham's overhead kick, Saka's piece of brilliance. Does anyone else think that's
bro.
unfair?
Nah,
I know
on the
it's
draw
unfair,
perspective, I say it all the time. Have England had a favourable draw? Yes.
Yeah, I
And
don't
credit,
disagree.
And credit to the
Pretty
players
much
and
every
Southgate.
tournament
Yeah.
Southgate's had, by the
And
way,
they-
is the
and they
favourable
took-
side of the.
They have,
Never
and they
known a
took
manager
full
have
advantage
looked
of
like
that,
it.
which is what you're supposed to do in cup competitions. If you get a favourable draw, take full advantage of that. So I don't use that against him. I just
Flex
say
your muscles, bro.
you should be. Yeah, I agree with you, Errol. You should be doing much better. England should have won a tournament. That last
Yeah,
Euros,
yeah,
they
that's
should have
fair.
won.
That's fair.
They should have.
That's
They
fair.
should have won. And to me, they should have got past Croatia and had played France in that World Cup final. Do I think they would have beat France? No. But once you're in a final, you never. All it takes is a red card, a bad decision by the ref, individual magic. That's how I look at it. Yes, you said, Joe. He's giving you your best moments as an England fan because the bar is on the floor. And he's done what he's supposed to do. There's no one England have beat in Gareth Southgate's reign in a major tournament. Maybe by Germany, where we look at it and go, all right, credit to you. We weren't favorites. You've been heavy favorites going into pretty much every game, and you've done the business. And even Netherlands, I think they'll get to the final. I've said this from when the group stages was finished. I said England will make the final. As bad as it's been, England will make the final.
Flawless. I don't know where you stand on Ten Hag genuinely, but
no, how long you got? Yeah.
I probably not good then, right? But your FA Cup winning this season, yeah. You celebrated that. You beat a tough team in the final. Yeah. What was the run into that?
We had a good because we played them. We played Liverpool.
Coventry City. Who else? Who was before that?
Liverpool was before that. They were the quarterfinal game.
Okay. Who else?
I can't remember who was in the third and fourth
There was some
round.
poor teams on that.
Yeah,
run,
there was
I
poor
believe.
teams, 100%.
Yeah.
And I said that when we won, before you go, Joe, the Carabao Cup, because people were talking about
Maybe
the
it's
home
that then.
draws.
Okay,
Manchester United kept getting, because we kept getting home draws and it was lower league opposition. That's not our fault. Take full advantage of that, because if we didn't, I'd be criticising Ten Hag and criticising the team. But the difference is, we won the Carabao Cup. The difference is, we won the FA Cup. Ten Hag's a whole conversation I don't even want to get into.
The point is, you would expect Southgate to get there. You would expect
Yeah,
him from those.
As soon as the draw came, yeah, 100%.
Hey, you know what? England should make the final, and people looked at me like I was crazy just because of the state of the draw. However, does anyone believe they beat anyone from the other side of the draw? No, I don't think they beat Spain, France, Germany, or Portugal.
I agree. The way we're
Can I just say as well, just to defend myself, because someone said, "Oh, you're celebrating mediocrity and all this, and what's success?" I hate this sort of mentality that we have, and Twitter has created all this. But for me, anything prior to Southgate, what's that then? If this is mediocrity, what's all that came before? When we had the golden generation,
you'll get that, Joe. You'll get that. You can celebrate wins, man. 100%. I'm not saying that. I understand where you're coming from. I understand I disagree with you, but I understand why you feel it. I understand. You're backing up your opinion as to why you're behind it, because you have had some great times and memories, and you've had experiences. You'll remember the times when we did X, Y, Z, beating the likes of X, Y, Z. Right? So I get it. You're absolutely right to give them credit for the penalty takers. You're right to give them credit in the penalty shootouts against Colombia, and now obviously against Switzerland.
What if he wins it, bro? Then what? Then what are we going to do?
Everybody up.
Happy days. Have a
If
party.
he shuts everybody up. If you win the trophy, all hail him. All hail! You have to give him.
And can we come back on here and you can all go, Joe? You were right, Southgate's have done it. Yeah, that's all right.
Hope you get an extra bank holiday out of it and everything.
Go win a trophy and get me an extra day off work. Yeah.
and then he can take over at Man United, and then you'll be busy.
That's literally what I was just about to ask you. In terms of his managerial caliber, what level of team could you see him managing?
There's a reason no Premier League club's got him for
100%. And people are getting it twisted. Like someone's just said, you're saying he's a great manager. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I would take him at my club. Every Leeds fan that hammers me when I'm on mine and they go, would you have him at Leeds? I'm like, no, not at all. He's not a club football manager. He's been at Borough. He's done that. That's not him. But the same conversations are happening in France, for example, with Deschamps. And I know it's easy because he's won things, but international management's totally different. It's totally different to what we see week in, week out. Would I back? No, not at all. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying he's a great manager. I'm just saying, for me, he's given me success as an England fan. So I want to see him. When we nearly got knocked out and Bellingham got that goal, I was having a meltdown because I was like, why is he letting it end like this? And his whole legacy as an England manager will be tarnished now. Even if you don't want to give him any credit whatsoever, even though for me he should deserve some because of what he's done, and he's turned the tide and he's made us fall in love with England again. The players enjoy going again, etc., etc. All that would have gone. And I just want him to end on a high, and I want him to go off into the sunset, having won the Euros, pass it on to someone who is a little bit younger, is a little bit more expansive, and let's go fucking dominate internationally for the next few years, because we have the players to do it. I just think right now he deserves more respect than what he gets.
Billy, what you saying, bro? You got a Spain shirt on. You're obviously not too fast. I remember you and Joe going at it last time.
Man, he didn't even watch it, though. He was sat here going, England. And I said, when was the last game you watched him? And I don't watch him. So I went, well, why are we having this conversation then? Do you know what I mean? My mate, right, who's a Man United fan, who's never been to Old Trafford, also buys Germany shirts, and he's a Germany fan. You are in that same bottle as him, Billy, man. That's all I'll say, but go on.
I've also been living in Spain for 9 years, so I feel like
Okay. You can have that then. Hola.
Buenos días a todos.
Sí.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've been really impressed with Spain. I've been really impressed with them. I never expected them to do as well as what they are, and I can't see anybody beating them. When it comes to that final, whether it's England or Holland, it's a shootout. Then, isn't it? Really,
you gotta beat France first,
on the day.
Gotta beat France first.
Yeah, but France haven't scored or conceded us. To be fair, an open play goal in the whole tournament, have they? So, I mean, it's going to be both games are going to be great games to watch. I think for the neutral, because so much is riding on them, but. I don't know. I've just been really impressed with Spain.
You're still the same as you were before with Southgate. Nothing changed.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to go. The day that he leaves is the day that I can celebrate and start supporting England again.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
think that's wild, man.
Now you understand it, Joe. Why I understand why people feel that way, because when it comes to international tournaments,
just celebrate it though.
But it's because people see him as a detriment to the team. I said it. If
Absolutely.
England had any form of competent manager, they would have won a tournament. That tournament they lost to Italy, they should have won that. This tournament, if they have a better manager, you are giving them a much better chance of winning it. There's not many chances you get great chances to win World Cups and Euros, even whether it's injuries, even the draw being on your side. Because England could have easily been on that draw with Spain, France, Portugal, and Germany. But you happen to be with Switzerland, Slovakia, Romania, and Netherlands, etc., which is favourable, and that suits you. So that's where people's criticism of South. And there's a way to lose.
You got to win the group, though. It's not our fault that Portugal didn't win their group, and France didn't win their group, and all these. It's not our fault.
No. Again, and that's why I said I don't blame England for that. They did what they're supposed to do and took full advantage of a favourable draw. But there's a way to approach football matches. There's a way to lose games. If England go out here and play Netherlands and he goes for it and they lose 3-2, for example, most people will go, we just disappointed we lost, but we went out on our shield. It's the way England go out with a whimper. That's people's problem. Even the way they lost to Italy in the final.
Bro,
how he kept his job after that is crazy.
And I can relate, mate, because I've sat and watched my team get slapped up by yours 6-2 and still get praised for getting beat under Bielsa. Yeah. I hear it. I get all that, right? I do, honestly. I hear what you're saying. There is a way to lose. You know, I watched my team get relegated under Sam Allardyce, and, it was shocking. It was I get it. I hear what you're saying.
I would be playing Ollie Watkins against Virgil van Dijk on Wednesday, if I'm being brutally honest, because Billy will be the first to tell you he's had not many forwards still to this day really put a sweat on Virg. Ollie Watkins has done it a number of times, yet he'll put Harry Kane on there, and man, he's got no problem back.
And they'll bring Tony on first.
Yeah,
100%.
That's just.
I think we all want stuff differently. Ain't gonna be. You know what the team's gonna be. You know it's going to be same. You know that the manager will stick with it.
Why is it 100% though? Why is it? Because he brought on Watkins first the other time.
No, he will 100% bring on Tony.
Why is it 100% when he brought on Watkins in the group?
I just think he will. He will.
So it's not 100%. You just think.
In my mind, it's 100%.
Okay. All right.
And I think everyone else agrees.
Okay. I'm not so sure. We'll see.
99% of people agree. You're the one.
Do you know what it is as well with Southgate? Is that I almost find that he try to make himself impossible to read so that other managers struggle to work out what might happen. You're
giving him too much credit.
I was going to say
yeah, but you say that. But I've listened and watched Southgate in terms of interviews and stuff, and the way he thinks is so different to how most people interpret football and talk about football and what they see.
That's why England will fail, though. That's why
it may well be right, but he's going to back himself to succeed in that manner. And I think if
tell him, Dan.
Do you know? I just don't know. I just think that maybe there's an element of Southgate playing chess here, but I just don't know.
He's playing 4D. He's playing 4D chess, mate.
4D. You know what he's playing? He's playing. You know what he's playing? Connect four with the thing that.
I just
That's
think
what he's playing.
sees
You know, like you have
sees
the piece at the bottom
management
for
in a
connect four, and
completely
you drop the
different way.
pieces in, or it drops out. That's what he's.
By the
playing.
way, I'm
What
not
you
backing
doing,
him.
man?
I just think that he just sees it in a completely different way.
Like, I get what you're trying to say, Dan, but I think we are giving him. I think you give Eddie. I don't even think you have to be a great coach to do well with this England side. I think if you're just average, if you're just bog standard, 5 out of 10, mid-table Premier League team, you do a better.
But then why have better managers such as a Capello or even a Hodgson?
Okay,
probably
I'll tell you why,
hard.
because you made this point before you go, Errol. Because what people keep overlooking when they talk about the golden generation, look at the opposition England were facing and were in tournaments. England were never the favourites going into any of them tournaments. Paul Scholes said it, I think it was on the overlap, and he was talking about, yeah, he was like, if we're the golden generation, what were Brazil then, the platinum generation? Look, take Greece out of it on Euro 2004. Go look at the teams that have won World Cups and Euros. England's golden generation wasn't better than any of them. They weren't better than France. They weren't better than Brazil. They weren't better than Spain. They were just overhyped. They weren't better than these sides on paper.
And to add
that's the problem.
Add on to that as well, this is where I give the credit back to the FA, because there were systemic issues within the England infrastructure that prevented England players from getting the best out, or any England managers getting the best out of the players. They was always up against it. And sometimes when you're like, if you stand like a foot away, or less than a foot, like half a foot away from an elephant, you can't tell it's an elephant. It's only when you step back and you see the whole picture, you know it's an elephant. And I think England managers at the time were way too close to everything that was going on because they couldn't actually see it for what it is. So that's where your point before, Dan, was spot on, where Southgate had that proximity at the time, but has been able to take a bird's eye view look at things now and start to pick out all of the negatives, all of the setbacks, all of the drawbacks, and say, if I've been off all of that, and here's the solutions that I'm offering up. And I think you're probably right. In a footballing sense, you probably need my man to be or an international technical director of sorts, because that to me sounds like the perfect role for him